I know, like me, you hear there are a lot of crazy SJW stories going around, and I cover them from time to time. If something jumps out at me as like, hey, that's really important and wild and dangerous, I'm going to make a statement about it. I'm going to make a video about it. And I'll tell you what I think about this one. I think this one is pretty wild and pretty dangerous. I don't think it's appropriate. And I want to cover it with you. I want you to see this article, see what you think of it. You come to your own conclusion. You don't always have to agree with me. I just want you to be aware of some of this stuff. We'll get into this article from Campus Reform. This professor, who, I don't know if they're giving her enough credit. She's a tenured professor with a PhD. She's an educated woman. So she has an education. But I don't have a PhD in child psychology, but I would never do this with a child. Professor says parents should discuss racism with their children beginning at 3 years old. As if a 3-year-old is going to comprehend whatever the social justice dynamics are. To say nothing of the fact of, like, you've got other and more important things to learn about at 3 years old, other than whatever the current version of the definition of the word racist is. And they're going to change it in 2 years like they did 2 years ago, and then 2 years on from then. So maybe just wait a few years until your children are at least 12 years old, and you can have a family discussion and go from your family's decision on what's appropriate for what you guys believe and what your faith says. Not this. At 3 years old, you're not going to get whatever this SJW messaging is supposed to be. I don't know where she gets this from. But let's see. Let's get into the article. Before we get into the article, subscribe to my channel, click the bell for notifications, and you will get stories. Every time we do these, you'll get one. Stephanie Irby Cord, PhD, a professor at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, claims that children are, quote, racial ethnic beings. They are beings. This was part of an online alumni lecture on parent-child conversations about race-related issues. Okay. So Stephanie Irby Cord, a professor at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, said during a lecture that children are ethnic racial beings, and that parents should begin discussing racism with their children beginning at 3. It does seem a little bit young. It does, doesn't it? The Supporting Parents Through Courageous Conversations webinar was hosted by Cord at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro on September 22nd, 2020, very recent, and was intended to, quote, help parents of color find the right tools to have the necessary conversations with their children and navigate unique challenges together. Well, it sounds well-meaning. Cord is a professor of human development and family studies at UNCG, and says she's got a PhD, so she must have one. It's impressive. In her biography on the school's website, it is explained that part of her teaching philosophy is to, quote, create agents of social change. Oh, okay. Well, that isn't good. People should be individuals first. And as far as them going and having nonstop social change, that's kind of just like enlisting them as soldiers. You can't be doing that. People should be able to make their own choices as individuals. It's one of the great things about the United States. At one point during the lecture, she stated, I believe that racial ethnic socialization is something that starts even before a child is born. Wow, that's weird. How could you have any kind of socialization before a child is born? That may bring into some issues with the right to choose as well, but that's another whole conversation. When asked about the optimal time to begin discussing racism with one's children, the professor explained, I would say beginning at 3 to have those conversations. Oh my. The professor recommends using candy to communicate racial messages. I oftentimes will use M&Ms, I will use jelly beans, or gummy bears, The professor believes that it's important to start discussing racism as soon as possible to avoid children coming to their own conclusions about racial issues. She explained, What you don't want is your child to make their own meaning of the conversation. Later, the professor warned parents, you don't want your child to be navigating spaces and places in the idea that somehow his color is invisible, because it's not. Oh. Wow. I don't like that at all. Cord espoused ideas widely accepted within the intersectional theory. You could have two poor people, both poor, with 2 dimes in their pockets, make one black and one white. There is race again. Okay. What? There is race again? It means nothing, but it's been used in this country to marginalize and oppress. I don't understand what I just read, so sorry about that. The professor earlier explained that she believes it's important for white families to teach their children about privilege and what that means and how you can use that for good and bring about equality and equity for all. Which goes back to the old conversation of equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome. Equality of opportunity is good. That's what America is based on. And it's merit-based. Equality of outcome means everybody does poorly and nobody works efficiently and no one's motivated. But that's the difference between capitalism and communism. She also explained that it's what we call emphasizing cultural pride messages wherever that culture and that ethnic heritage is, and then we balance that with what we call preparation for bias or preparation for racism messages. This is for 3-year-olds? I didn't even know what she's talking about. Maybe it's because I don't have a PhD. She continued, it's my belief that all families racially socialize their child. Well, this is all very strange. It's unfortunate this goes on in the world. Parents need to raise their children and take responsibility for them. And they should raise them in their community. And everyone should be proud of who and what they are. I know I am. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you think 3 is a good age to start training children about SJW ideas on racism? Let me know what you think. I would love to see what you think. I think this whole stuff is like really inappropriate for 3-year-olds, except to just be nice and try to, be careful of strangers and love everybody who's nice. That's my take. That's my best parenting advice, at least for tonight. If you want to support my work, you can check out collegeofdead.com, College of Dead Graduation Day, where college costs you an arm and a leg. It's an ongoing full-color graphic novel series, and you can pick that book up at Chips right away. And you can go to epicmermaids.com. And you can't buy this yet, but you can sign up for the email list. You're just going to get one email that says, hey, this project came out. You can pick it up now. It's coming out soon. So check that out, epicmermaids.com. All right, definitely let me know what you think of this video in the comments. I really appreciate it. I'm working hard on these videos. I want to get more of these done and see what you guys think of them. I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.